All right, so it's going to be a review of Joker 2 or Joker Folie Deux. I think I said that right. It's French. I looked it up. It means madness of two or shared madness. This is directed by Todd Phillips, just like that first movie was. That first movie was big, right? It made a lot of money. A lot of people really liked it. It was controversy around it, but it was well received for the most part. I saw somebody even say that this is that first movie is the best comic book movie of all time. I don't think so. I don't think it's even close. I didn't see the first movie until a couple years after it came out. I did a review for my other channel, and I liked it. I thought it was good, and I really like Joaquin Phoenix's performance. I think he's amazing in it. But I wasn't crazy about the movie like some other people were. I wasn't lording, Todd Phillips is this of creating this masterpiece that was the first movie like some people are. I wasn't crazy about it to that degree. So the idea that the second movie was going to be a musical with Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, I was like, that sounds bad. That sounds actually kind of disastrous. I don't know why you would decide to do that. But I saw the trailer. I think I saw at least one trailer for this, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Like that looks good. So last night, decided to go give it a chance, and I'll say how I feel about it in a second. So this is pretty much a direct continuation of the first movie. Arthur Fleck, once again played by Joaquin Phoenix, Joker. He's in Arkham Hospital, and they're trying to see if he's competent enough to stand trial for the things that he did in the first movie. And ultimately, they do find him competent enough, so he's going to trial, and they're looking for the death penalty. They want him dead. So he ends up walking past this singing class that another wing of the hospital has, and he ends up seeing Lee Quinzel, played by Lady Gaga, and a guard pulls some strings and gets him in that class. So that's why there's like singing throughout the movie. The idea is it's a way for them to express themselves in their madness and all that. So they hit it off pretty much right off the bat. There's a TV movie about everything that happened in that first movie, a TV movie, Joker movie, that Lee really likes, and she's like seemingly obsessed with Joker. Having like commentary on people getting obsessed with serial killers and people being obsessed with serial killers as a result of certain TV movies or specials or whatever. We've had that in the real world, so it's touching on that with their relationship. So the trial actually does start. It happens, and for reasons, Arthur ends up putting on the makeup and being Joker actually in the trial, and it's kind of chaotic. But witnesses come in and from the first movie, things like that, and they really touch on everything that happened in that first movie. And there's the question throughout the whole thing of, is this a performance? Is this a persona? Or is this actually Arthur? And this is, just who he is. I did not like this movie. I like certain aspects of it. I think it definitely has potential. We'll get to that in a second. But it's definitely got issues. And one issue in particular, I think really brings this movie down. But positives. Performances, great, pretty much across the board. Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's great with these songs. Obviously, she's a great singer. Joaquin Phoenix, not so much, but but there's that. Pretty much across the board, I think everybody does a really great job. I don't think there's a single person that I could single out that didn't do well. The movie does just such a good job of making you sympathize with Arthur and everything he's going through, and the relationship that he has with Lee, even though I don't think it's developed enough. Right, I think they did an interesting angle with that. Whereas Harley is usually manipulated by the Joker, but he doesn't really care about her. He beats the shit out of her in like the animated series and stuff. And here, she is obsessed with him, but mostly obsessed with Joker, and is like manipulating Arthur to be that Joker persona that she's obsessed with. And Arthur not really seeing what she's doing and how she's manipulating him, because he's just so happy that he's not alone and he has a woman that cares about him and that he can see a future with and have an actual relationship with. I mean, the movie sets up such really well done dramatic scenes, like when they're having the trial and certain characters come in from the first movie and give their perspective of things. That little guy, the little person from the first movie, his coworker, the one that witnessed him just viciously murder that asshole guy that they worked with. while he's screaming in terror. Like that scene stuck with me. He gives his perspective of things, how much trauma he has as a result of it, how he can't sleep, and you see the pain in his performance, and it's just so powerful. It got me emotional. Like I almost started crying. I almost did, because it was just so well done. And I wish the rest of the movie would have been like that, but unfortunately, it's not. This movie cannot stand on its own, right? It's mainly just about going back to the first movie and the events of that, and having the court case and all that. It kind of feels like they didn't really have an idea for what to do with the second movie, so they're like, okay, we can throw Harley Quinn in there and maybe some other elements, but we're mostly just going to focus on a court case, a trial about what happened in the first movie, and just kind of go over the events of the first movie again, even show clips from the first movie again. It's kind of a lazy sequel in that way, right? It feels more like it's an epilogue to the first movie rather than an actual sequel, right? Like I thought that him and Lee were gonna, maybe halfway through the movie or something, escape and cause more chaos and have more stuff go on in the city and things like that. But no, it's mainly just, hey, this is a court case, it's a trial to see if it's if he really is Joker, if this is a split personality type thing, and we should be a little bit more lenient legally, or actually have him go to a better hospital to get real help. It's just there's not enough there. Like, you know, like I already said with Lee and Arthur, the manipulation and things like that, manipulating him into being more like his Joker persona, even though he may not want to. But he's just completely taken by her because he's like, oh, I'm not lonely anymore. That doesn't get enough development really to really have a full storyline there. You have the pro and anti Joker people that are there at the trial. That feels kind of cool, like kind of meta, right? Because you had the whole controversy around the first movie where people were very pro Joker and very anti Joker, and it caused like fights on social media, arguments, even in mainstream media. So that's like, okay, that's an interesting kind of meta thing that you did there. Do they do enough with it? No. Like actually, the pro Joker side, I really don't know why they're pro Joker or what their aims are. like like in the first movie, we had like that surface level class stuff that he kind of got mixed up in because he killed those rich assholes. I guess maybe it's continuation of that, but they just didn't touch on it, or what? Like there needs to be more there, and it's not there because we have to focus on other things, which is the main issue of this movie. This movie, it's dramatic, it's emotionally powerful, it's mirroring certain things from our real world when it comes to serial killers, things like that. But for whatever reason, they decided to make this a musical, and it is like ridiculous to the point of being comical. Like I was laughing. Like you have serious dramatic scenes where I'm like really into it, trying to get into Arthur's mental state and everything, and out of nowhere he'll start singing. And Joaquin Phoenix is not that great of a singer, so like he's off key at times and things like that. It doesn't sound all that good. And so it ended up being funny. Like you completely killed the tone of that scene. Like he was having an interview that was being televised, right, to really look at his competency and things like that before the trial. And out of nowhere, he just started singing. Why is he singing in this moment? It's like, what's going on? I think he actually was singing in that moment. I was like, this is ridiculous. Why would you do that? Why would you kill the tone of the scene like this? And that happens over and over and over again. The musical aspect of it just does not fit here. It doesn't. The movie's over 2 hours long, but by the end of it, I was like, really, that's it? Because there's so much that you could have had in here, development to add on to, themes and stories that you're doing, like with him and Lee, that you decide that you want to do an entire performance, a singing performance with Joker and Lee, or with Arthur and Lee. So, they're on a stage singing to each other and putting on a show, and in other places having full on like performance segments, and it's like, why is this here? It's like you completely stopped the movie so that you could have this going on. It's kind of overindulgent and kind of full of itself. It's like pretentious kind of for me. It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you killing your movie like this? So I'm gonna give it a rental, and that's kind of being generous. Like that's kind of being generous because the singing really does bring the movie down like a lot, like a lot. But I will still give it a rental. It's still somewhat watchable. It's more the mediocre realm, but it's really getting close to bad. Like if the scenes that worked didn't work just as much as they do, I could justify giving this trash. because of just how much the singing just kills the tone and just does not work in this. But anyway, that's Joker 2 or Joker Folie à Deux. Rental, subscribe, and we're done.